Our journey into the heart of America's past began in a most unexpected way. We rolled into Springfield, Illinois with Abraham Lincoln on our minds. We expected grand monuments and somber historical sites, but the first thing that truly caught our eye was a splash of color and a dose of pure Americana. It was the Route 66 Gas for Less Museum. This wasn't some stuffy, formal institution. It was a vibrant, almost playful tribute to the golden age of road travel. Old gasoline pumps stood like colorful soldiers guarding a bygone era. Their bright reds and yellows seemed to pop against the clear blue Midwestern sky. It was a wonderful surprise and a perfect informal welcome to this historic city. This place was more than just a collection of old things, it was a time capsule. You could almost hear the rumble of classic cars pulling in for a fill-up. You could imagine families on grand adventures heading west on the famous Mother Road, the signs, the tools, the old oil cans. Each item told a story of a simpler time, a time when the journey itself was the destination. We spent a good hour just wandering around, pointing out details to each other. It was a reminder that history isn't just about presidents and politics. It's also about the everyday lives of people and the roads that connected them. This little museum set the perfect tone for our trip. Personal, accessible, and full of stories. It felt like we had stumbled upon a secret. While most tourists might drive right past, heading for the more famous Lincoln sites, we found a real gem. The curator was a friendly local with a passion for Route 66. He shared tales of the highway's heyday and how Springfield was a key stop along the way. This wasn't just a job for him, it was his heritage. His enthusiasm was infectious. It made us appreciate the importance of preserving these smaller, more personal pieces of history. They provide a texture and a richness that you can't always find in the big official museums. It's these kinds of places that make travel so rewarding. Leaving the gas station museum, we felt energized. We had connected with a different side of Springfield's history. We had touched a piece of the classic American road trip dream. This experience shifted our perspective. We weren't just here to learn about one great man. We were here to explore the many layers of a city that sits at a crossroads of American history. It was a crossroads of presidential legacy and the iconic freedom of Route 66. Our adventure had begun not with a formal speech or a grand memorial, but with the humble, happy spirit of the open road, and that felt just right. Traveling by RV is a special kind of freedom. It's our little home on wheels. We have our own kitchen, our own bed, our own space. This means we are not tied to hotel check-in times or restaurant reservations. We can be spontaneous. If we see an interesting side road, we can take it. If we find a beautiful spot to watch the sunset, we can pull over and make a cup of tea. It allows us to travel on our own terms, at our own pace. This is especially wonderful in a place like central Illinois, where the landscape is wide and open. The journey becomes as much a part of the experience as the destination itself. Our RV park in Springfield became our home base. It was a friendly community of fellow travelers. In the evenings, people would sit outside their campers, grilling food and sharing stories. We met a couple from Canada and a family from California. We traded tips about what to see and where to eat. This sense of community is one of the best parts of RV travel. You are part of a tribe of explorers, all seeking adventure in your own way. It turns a simple trip into a shared experience. We felt connected not just to the history of Springfield, but to the living, breathing community of travelers passing through it. Having our own vehicle meant we could easily explore the outskirts of the city. We weren't limited to the downtown tourist trail. We drove through quiet residential neighborhoods. We saw the local parks where families were playing. We shopped at the same grocery stores as the locals. This gives you a much more authentic feel for a place. You start to see the city not just as a collection of historic sites, but as a living community where people go about their daily lives. This deepens your understanding and appreciation for the place you are visiting. It's getting off the beaten path, even just a little, that often creates the best memories. The convenience of the RV is undeniable. After a long day of walking and exploring historical sites, it was a comfort to return to our own space. We could kick off our shoes, make a simple dinner, and relax. We didn't have to pack and unpack suitcases every day. This simplicity reduces the stress of travel and allows you to focus on what's important, soaking in the culture and history around you. Our RV wasn't just a mode of transportation, it was our partner in this adventure. It gave us the flexibility and comfort to truly immerse ourselves in the spirit of Springfield. To truly understand a place, you have to eat where the locals eat. In Springfield, we found our way to the Main Gate Bar and Grill. It's located right near the Illinois State Fairgrounds. The name itself suggests a place that is welcoming and central to the community. From the outside, it looked like a classic no-frills American bar. Inside, the atmosphere was warm and buzzing with conversation. It wasn't fancy, it was real. This is where you get the true flavor of a city. You hear the local accents, you see the local sports teams on the TVs, and you feel the genuine hospitality. We found a table and looked at the menu. It was full of straightforward, hearty American food. We decided to try their famous horseshoe sandwich. This is a local Springfield specialty. It's an open-faced sandwich with thick-cut toast, a hamburger patty, a pile of French fries, and a generous smothering of cheese sauce. It's not health food, but it is a delicious piece of local culture. Eating the horseshoe felt like a rite of passage. We were participating in a local tradition, and it was absolutely delicious. Sometimes the most memorable meals are not the ones in fancy restaurants, but the ones that connect you to the heart of a place. The people at the main gate were friendly and open. The bartender struck up a conversation with us, asking where we were from and what we were seeing in town. He gave us some tips on other local spots to check out. The other patrons seemed to be a mix of regulars who all knew each other, and a few other visitors like us. There was a comfortable, easygoing vibe. No one was in a hurry. It felt like a community gathering spot, a place where people come to unwind after a long day and connect with their neighbors. This is the kind of authentic experience that we travel for. Leaving the main gate, we felt full and happy. We had done more than just have a meal. We had participated in the local life of Springfield. We had tasted their signature dish and shared a space with the people who call this city home. These are the experiences that stick with you long after the trip is over. It's a reminder that every town and city has its own unique rhythm and flavor, and the best way to find it is to pull up a chair at a local bar, order the specialty, and just listen to the world around you. It's a simple recipe for a great travel experience. Walking through downtown Springfield is like stepping back in time. Abraham Lincoln is everywhere. His image is on signs, his name is on streets, and his spirit seems to linger on every corner. It's not a commercialized theme park feeling, it's more of a deep, respectful presence. The city has done a wonderful job of preserving its historic core. Many of the buildings look much as they would have in the mid-19th century. As you stroll along the brick-paved sidewalks, it's easy to imagine Lincoln himself walking these same streets. You can almost picture him in his tall hat, deep in thought, on his way to his law office. The whole area is designed for pedestrians. This encourages you to slow down and really look at your surroundings. We spent a whole afternoon just wandering, with no specific destination in mind. We looked at the historic plaques on the buildings. We peered into the windows of old shops. We noticed the architectural details that you would miss if you were just driving by. This slow, deliberate exploration is key to connecting with a place. It allows the history to seep in. You start to feel the layers of time and the stories that these old buildings hold within their walls. The city has carefully integrated the historic sites with modern life. You'll find a charming coffee shop next to a building where Lincoln once gave a speech. There are art galleries and small boutiques tucked into these historic storefronts. This mix of old and new makes the city feel alive and vibrant, not like a static museum. It shows that history is not something separate from our daily lives. It is the foundation upon which our modern world is built. Springfield manages this balance beautifully, making its history accessible and relevant to visitors today. Our walk was a conversation with the past. Every block seemed to offer a new piece of the Lincoln puzzle. We saw the site of his law office, the building where his political career took shape, and the train station from which he departed for Washington, D.C. It was a powerful and immersive experience. You start to see Lincoln not just as a monumental figure in a history book, but as a real person. A lawyer, a husband, a father, a neighbor. Walking these streets brought the human side of Lincoln to life for us in a way that no book ever could. One of the most moving experiences in Springfield is visiting the Lincoln home. This is actually the only house he ever owned, and it's been preserved with incredible care. To stand in front of it is to feel a direct connection to the man himself. This wasn't some grand presidential mansion, it was a family home. Just a simple, handsome, two-story house on a quiet corner. You can see the windows where his children looked out, and you can imagine him sitting on the front step, chatting with his neighbors. It immediately makes him more relatable. He was a man who had a home, a family, and a community. The tour inside the house is managed by the National Park Service, and honestly, they do a wonderful job. You go through in small groups, which really keeps the experience intimate. The guides are knowledgeable and passionate. They don't just recite facts and dates, they tell stories. They bring the house to life. They point out the original furniture, the family portraits on the walls, and the small personal items that belong to the Lincolns. You stand in the very rooms where they lived their daily lives, where they celebrated joys and endured sorrows. It's a powerful feeling to be in that space. As you walk through the rooms, you get a real sense of their family life. You see the formal parlor where Lincoln would have met with important political figures, but you also see the more casual family sitting room. You see the children's bedrooms. The guides tell stories about Lincoln as a father, how he loved to play with his sons and was known for being very indulgent with them. This humanizes him completely. You stop thinking of him as the stoic face on the $5 bill, and you start to see him as a loving husband and a doting father, living a life that was in many ways quite ordinary. Leaving the house, you step back out into the preserved neighborhood. Several blocks around the home are part of the historic site. The streets are closed to traffic and other homes from the period have been restored. It really allows you to feel what the neighborhood would have been like in the 1850s. It completes the picture. You haven't just seen a house, you've experienced a community. Visiting the Lincoln home is an essential part of any trip to Springfield. It's where the legend becomes a man, and where history feels incredibly close and personal. It's an experience we will not soon forget. The old state capitol building stands proudly in the center of downtown Springfield. It is a beautiful Greek Revival building, and its stone columns and grand dome give it a sense of importance and dignity. This is not just another old government building. This is where Abraham Lincoln spent a significant part of his public life. He served as a state legislator here. He argued important cases before the Illinois Supreme Court here, and it was in these halls that he delivered his famous House Divided speech. To stand in this building is to stand on truly historic ground. Inside, the building has been meticulously restored to its 1850s appearance. As you walk through the chambers, you feel the weight of the history that was made here. You can enter the Hall of Representatives. This is the very room where Lincoln gave his House Divided speech in 1858. The guide explained the context of the speech and its importance in the lead-up to the Civil War. To stand in that spot, to look at the podium, and to imagine his powerful words echoing through the room is a chilling and inspiring moment. It makes history feel tangible and alive. We explored the other rooms in the building as well. We saw the Supreme Court chamber where Lincoln the lawyer practiced his trade. We saw the governor's office and the various administrative rooms. Each space was filled with period-appropriate furniture and artifacts, and it gave us a complete picture of how state government worked in the mid-19th century. It was fascinating to see the law library, with its shelves of old, leather-bound books. You could imagine Lincoln spending hours there, preparing his cases and honing the arguments that would later shape the nation. But the most poignant part of the visit is learning that Lincoln's body lay in state here after his assassination in 1865. After his long journey from Washington, he returned one last time to this building that was so central to his career. Thousands of his fellow Illinoisans came to pay their final respects in the same room where he had delivered his House Divided speech. This brings the story full circle in a deeply emotional way. The old state capitol is not just a place of political triumphs, it is also a place of profound national mourning. It is a must-see for anyone who wants to understand the full scope of Lincoln's journey. One of the great joys of travel is connecting with people, and the people of Springfield were just wonderfully welcoming. It wasn't just the museum curators or tour guides, it was the everyday people we met. The woman at the coffee shop who gave us directions, the man walking his dog who stopped to chat about our RV, the family at the next table in a restaurant who shared a laugh with us. There is a genuine, down-to-earth friendliness in the Midwest that is truly special. People seem to have time for each other. They are curious and open, and they are proud of their city. In a small brewery downtown, we struck up a conversation with a group of local teachers. They were fascinated to hear that we had traveled all the way from the West Coast in our RV. We asked them what it's like to live in a city so dominated by the history of one person, and they said it's something they are very proud of. They told us how Lincoln's stories of honesty and perseverance are a big part of what they teach their students. It was wonderful to hear their perspective. It showed us that Lincoln's legacy is not just for tourists, it is a living, breathing part of the local identity. We also met many other travelers. At the Lincoln Tomb, we met a family from Germany. They were on a cross-country trip exploring American history, and it was fascinating to see our own history through their eyes. They were so impressed by the story of Lincoln and the ideals of democracy that he represents. At the RV park, we swapped stories with a retired couple from Florida who spend their summers exploring the country. These connections with fellow travelers enrich the journey. You share tips, you share experiences, and you realize you are part of a global community of curious explorers. These interactions are what transform a trip from a sightseeing tour into a meaningful experience. The historic sites are amazing, but it's the people who give a place its soul. The friendly bartender, the proud teacher, the curious German tourist, they all added color and depth to our understanding of Springfield. They reminded us that travel is about more than just seeing new places. It's about connecting with new people and new perspectives. The warmth and openness of the people we met in Springfield will be one of our fondest memories of our time in Lincoln's hometown. Our final stop in Springfield was Oak Ridge Cemetery. This is the final resting place of Abraham Lincoln, his wife Mary, and 3 of their 4 sons. The Lincoln Tomb is a grand and imposing granite monument. A tall obelisk reaches toward the sky, visible from a great distance. At the base is a large bronze statue of Lincoln's head, and its nose has been rubbed shiny by the hands of countless visitors seeking good luck. As you approach the entrance, a sense of quiet reverence settles over you. It is a place of pilgrimage for people from all over the world. Inside, the tomb is quiet and solemn. The corridors are made of polished marble, and they lead you in a circle to the burial chamber at the center. Along the way, there are smaller statues representing different phases of Lincoln's life, as a frontiersman, a soldier, a lawyer, and a president. It is a powerful summary of his incredible journey. The lighting is low and people speak in hushed tones. It is a space for quiet reflection. You think about the immense challenges he faced and the incredible burden he carried as president during the Civil War. It is a humbling experience. The burial chamber itself is simple and dignified. The red marble sarcophagus sits in the center of the room, and the names of his family members buried with him are inscribed on the wall. Standing there, you feel the finality of it all. This is the end of the story that began in a log cabin. It is a powerful moment to contemplate his life and his incredible impact on the United States and the world. He saved the Union and gave his life for the cause of freedom. This tomb is a fitting and powerful tribute to his sacrifice. Leaving the tomb and walking back out into the sunshine, we felt a deep sense of gratitude. Our trip to Springfield had been more than just a vacation. It had been a journey into the heart of the American story. From the fun of Route 66 to the solemnity of this tomb, we had experienced the many layers of this fascinating city. We left with a much deeper understanding of Lincoln the man, not just Lincoln the legend. Springfield is a special place. It faithfully preserves the legacy of its most famous resident, and in doing so, it offers every visitor a chance to connect with a vital piece of our shared history.